Even if you're not a fan of football or The Weeknd, it was worth watching the Super Bowl to see the new trailer for Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Marvel's second live-action series on Disney Plus is approaching its March 19th debut on Disney Plus, and we're starting to get a better picture of the conflict that awaits Sam Wilson and his bound-to-be partner Bucky Barnes. Spoiler alert, they still don't get along very well. Even as the plot starts to merge, fans still have a lot of questions about the new MCU production. Why has Baron Zemo returned? Who exactly is the masked woman who fights the Winter Soldier one by one? Is that Madripoor's horizon what we see? Let's delve into this new footage and explore what we know about the next great series of the MCU. Why is Baron Zemo the villain? Sam and Bucky will face a familiar face in this new series, with Daniel Brühl resuming his role as Baron Helmut Zemo of Captain America: Civil War, 2016. Given that movie is almost 5 years old, it is probably worth recapitulating who Zemo is and why he hates superheroes so much. As we learned in Civil War, Zemo was the leader of a Sokovian commando squadron until that Eastern European country was devastated in Avengers: The Age of Ultron 2015. Zemo lost his wife and children in the disaster, which caused intense hatred towards the Avengers. Zemo spent the months following the events of The Age of Ultron preparing for his ultimate goal of fracturing the Avengers and shaking public confidence in the heroes in disguise. He found the key to his plan after discovering the existence of the Winter Soldier and using a brainwashed Bucky as the key to dividing Iron Man and Captain America. Although Black Panther prevented Zemo from committing suicide, the villain finally achieved his goal. When we last saw him at the end of Civil War, he had been imprisoned by the UN and was rejoicing at his victory. Zemo's mission is only half complete. The trailer makes it clear that Zemo has escaped his imprisonment. We wouldn't be surprised at all if the clique in Avengers: Infinity War has something to do with that. Either Zemo survived and his jailers did not, or they did and returned 5 years later after his soul disappeared a long time ago. Of course, having spent approximately 7 years in the MCU since the events of Civil War, it is also possible that Zemo has simply been released from prison upon serving his sentence. Either way, he is fleeing and resuming his unique and true mission. Zemo's narration in the trailer makes it clear. As we heard him say, "Superheroes should not be allowed to exist. I have no intention of leaving my job halfway." We can assume Zemo is upset that the Avengers came together to save the day in Endgame and is determined to prove that even having brought back to life billions of lost souls, the Avengers cannot be trusted. And maybe he's not entirely wrong, considering that it was his failure that caused the clique in the first place. Although according to that logic, Zemo is also to blame because he made sure that the Avengers could not form a united front against Thanos. Anyway, we doubt that he is capable of that level of self-reflection. Why does Zemo have a purple mask? The most obvious change for Zemo this time is the fact that he is finally wearing his iconic purple mask from the comics. There may be practical reasons to put on a costume this time. For example, comics show that the mask gives Zemo resistance to psychic attacks, similar to how Magneto's helmet protects him against the powers of Professor X, but the true meaning of the purple mask lies in its family history. In the comics, Helmut is actually the second character to use the title of Baron Zemo, after his father Heinrich Zemo. That Baron Zemo was one of the greatest nemesis of the World War II era along with the Red Skull, and he also wore the purple mask. In fact, the mask permanently adhered to his face after Heinrich had contact with a superglue called Adhesive X when Captain America threw his shield against the tank of Adhesive X, spilling its contents on Zemo's head, leaving the mask irremediably stuck to his face. Helmut Zemo's version of the comics has its own face scars induced by the X adhesive, and sometimes he also uses it as a weapon against the Avengers. The MCU has never suggested that the Cappy fought the old Zemo, but it is possible that Falcon and the Winter Soldier complete some of that background story and explore how Helmut is following in the footsteps of an ancestor. The series probably won't go into any of those Adhesive X themes, but you never know. The idea that the past resurfaces to pursue the present will probably be a great topic in the series. Supergirl actor Carl Lumbly has been chosen for an undisclosed role, and many fans speculate that he will play Isaiah Bradley. one of the main protagonists of Truth, Red, White and Black, 2003, here better known as Captain America, The Truth, 2004. Bradley is one of the few survivors of an ultra-secret program in which African-American soldiers were used as test subjects in an attempt to recreate the lost formula of Dr. Erskine. Few survived in human experiments, and only Bradley survived at the end of the war. That is the dark truth behind America's shining hero, and we could easily see Zemo wanting to expose that truth to the world. The inspiring legend of the birth of Captain America became the nightmare of a group of individuals whose only crime was to be born with a different skin color in this story that takes us to the hidden face of the nation's dream of bars and stars, necessarily used as guinea pigs. The question is how Sam and Bucky will react to the truth about the myth of Captain America and whether that will affect Sam's commitment to follow in Steve's footsteps. Who is Falcon's masked woman and the Winter Soldier? The first two trailers have shown Sam and Bucky facing a group of masked terrorists. The leader of this cell is a woman who seems to have super strength, at least enough to be able to easily defend herself from the former Winter Soldier and his vibranium arm. Thanks to some leaked merchandise products, we know that anarchist terrorist group will be the Flag Smashers, with the ringleader, which we suppose is also called Without Flags, played by Aaron Kellyman, and Fizz Nest in Solo, a Star Wars story, who was thought to play Songbird. In the comics, Flag Smasher is a deeply unpatriotic villain who despises Captain America and the government he represents. Flag Smasher eventually forms a terrorist group called Ultimatum, so this No Flags group could be the precursor of that organization in the MCU. Based on his fighting skills, we would not be surprised to know that Flag Smasher has some version of the serum of the super soldier running through his veins. She and Zemo can be united in their desire to expose the dark truth of Captain America and turn the world against their heroes. Captain America or US Agent. One of the last scenes of Avengers Endgame shows an old Steve Rogers passing the shield and, a priori, the mantle of Captain America to Sam Wilson. Unfortunately, that does not automatically make Sam the new Captain America in the eyes of the United States government or the world in general. Presumably, one of the main plot points in Falcon and the Winter Soldier will involve the uphill fight that Sam faces to earn the right to be the new Cappy. Again, assuming you even decide that's what you want in the end. The trailers certainly hint that the government has chosen its own candidate to be the new Captain America or derivative. Wyatt Russell plays John Walker, a character better known to comic book readers as US Agent. Walker briefly played the role of Captain America, as Isaiah Bradley, in the comics after Steve cut ties with the government, and before finally adopting his own superhero identity. But it is worth noting that Marvel Studios has only referred to the character as John Walker in its promotional material. The character seems to be kept under an intentional veil of secrecy, to the point where we have only obtained a good official look at Russell's John Walker thanks to a Topps Chrome. The US government will most likely try to establish Walker as the new Captain America in the eyes of the public. Given Walker's physical resemblance to Chris Evans' Steve Rogers, the government may be trying to maintain the illusion that this is the same Captain that Americans have always known. As things stand, we don't know how much the general public knows about the events of Endgame and Steve's sudden disappearance from public life. While MCU Steve Rogers has never really tried to maintain a secret identity, we can probably assume that most of what the public knows about his origins and personal life is strongly controlled and filtered by the government. Both advances have shown us similar shots of a disguised Walker who wanders before an audience in a football game. That suggests that their role is more propaganda than one rooted in real military missions and operations. In other words, very similar to the Captain's original work as a propaganda tool in the early days of World War II, the Captain's idea and symbol is what the government wants to keep, and that may be exactly what Zemo and the Without Flags are trying to destroy. Is Madripoor going to debut at the MCU? According to the two trailers released so far, it seems that Falcon and the Winter Soldier has a much greater range than WandaVision. Rather than primarily taking place within a town outside New Jersey, the series will seemingly feature epic train battles, a major action sequence inside the Grand Canyon, and several other international locations. A milestone that continues to appear in this footage is the mysterious horizon of a neon-soaked city. That city seems to be located in China or somewhere else in Asia. That already led many fans to speculate, could the series present Madripoor at the MCU? If you are not familiar with Madripoor, it is basically the Mos Eisley of the Marvel Universe, a miserable hive of scum and villainy where few heroes dare to step on. Madripoor is like Singapore in the sense that it is a small island nation composed of a large city. Founded by pirates and full of corruption at all levels of government, Madripoor is a safe haven for all criminals and supervillains who do not want to worry about international extradition. It also turns out to be a regular stop for Wolverine. That in itself raises some interesting questions. Assuming that it is Madripoor what we are seeing in the trailers, could Wolverine also make his MCU debut in Falcon and the Winter Soldier? We know that Marvel Studios is still years away from releasing a movie dedicated to the X-Men, and it has only been confirmed so far that Deadpool 3, starring Ryan Reynolds, is underway. But that doesn't mean that we don't see that these characters and concepts begin to emerge in other projects. It is not an exaggeration to imagine this series using the location of Madripoor to at least anticipate Wolverine's debut, for not dreaming of the iconic X-Men scene in the last great cameo of Scarlet Witch and Vision. A normal day in Madripoor. As things stand, Wolverine, Captain America and Bucky have a long story shared together. Logan fought alongside the Cap in World War II and met the Winter Soldier during the Cold War. The animated series X-Men Evolution even introduced the idea that Wolverine and Captain America were among the soldiers who rescued a young Magneto from a Nazi concentration camp. That would certainly be an interesting MCU flashback, one of the many ways the series could bring Wolverine into the world of Sam and Bucky. Wolverine and the Captain are also products of the same scientific program. Weapon X and Operation Renaissance are projects of the same organization called Weapon Plus. Indeed, writer Grant Morrison's new X-Men comics revealed that Wolverine's Weapon X codename actually means Weapon 10, and Captain himself was the original Weapon 1. If Falcon and the Winter Soldier is investigating the dark truth behind Captain America, it makes sense to refer to this shared story. Even if we don't really see Wolverine in person, we may see planes or X-rays of a mysterious six-claws test subject of adamantium called X-Weapon. It's a beginning, friends, or a great culmination. What is the song that sounds in the trailer? Finally, we could also touch on one of the most important questions surrounding the new trailer. For those who ask you, the song is You Ready by Migos, which was part of the soundtrack of the movie Mile 22 starring Mark Wahlberg, serves as background music for this new film. There is not much to extract from that detail, although we do not think it is casual, given the frequency with which it repeats the line, "Are you ready? All the equipment ready?" He is clearly celebrating the fact that the Falcon and the Winter Soldier are back in action, and with Don Cheadle's War Machine joining the duo at some point. Or does the song rather anticipate an alliance of villains, including Baron Zemo, the Flagless and any other villain who may lurk in the shadows? How do you think Zemo and the Flagless will influence the plot? Will Falcon and the Winter Soldier present Madripoor and Wolverine at the MCU? Tell us in the comments what you expect from this series.